Hello everybody, my name is Kendra Aarhus and I am a LimeLight by Alcone beauty guide, and today I want to show you one of our new products that we have just come out with. It's called the Blenderful. Looks like this, and it's a cousin to the uh, beauty blender that you might be very used to. A cool thing about the Blenderful is it comes in this really awesome case that has a magnetic closure and it's mesh, so it will allow your beauty blender to dry, because you recommend that they use them when they're wet. So I'm going to get straight to this because I don't really like a lot of chatter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the Blenderful and kind of what some of the features of this are to make your makeup application go on a lot better or a lot easier. So I'm going to take my foundation, which I have in my LimeLight foundation palette. This is my foundation, my lighter concealer, and then my blemish concealer there. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you always see that I take a little bit of the foundation, which is made by RCMA, and I warm it up on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to just kind of spot this all over my face. And this really, how you're gonna choose how you spot it on your face is how heavy you want your coverage to be. So I'm going for a little more coverage today. Got a lot of meetings today. So then you're going to want to take your Blenderful sponge, and I always take the excess off my hand now because I really don't want it there all day long. And I have this damp, so I ran it under the faucet and then I squeezed out all the moisture. And a lot of times I'll even take like a dry washcloth or a towel and I'll wrap it around there and even squeeze more of the moisture out. You just want it damp. If you get it too wet, it's going to dilute your product more than you might want. And then you're just going to go into with a stippling motion and using this point to get into those fine places around your eyes. You're just going to pat, 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 pat. This type of motion works a lot better than if you were smearing, because it keeps the application of the makeup very even. It keeps the texture of the makeup it looks very much like skin and natural, but with full coverage. Now, before I started applying my makeup, I will tell you I did prep my skin, clean skin, and quite a bit of moisturizer. At the time of this videotape, it's starting to get dry here in my state, and so my skin definitely needs a lot of moisture before putting makeup on it. And I use the Sotox from LimeLight, followed by our One Drop Wonder oil, and just a little bit of Skin Therapist moisturizer after that. So after you get that all, you can see how awesome the coverage is. Here's where some of the features of this sponge, like this flat bottom, will really come in handy when you want to blend it down to your neck or onto your chest. This flat area it's very wide, and it makes that blending process really, really nice. So you can kind of blend it down like that and use that to pat your foundation, and it just gives you a really nice texture and a nice finish. You can see that. So I'm going to show you a few more ideas for using your Blenderful for more of your complexion. And I'm going to start with my concealer number 0, which I'm going to also put on the back of my hand. And I like to use this to brighten up under my eyes and as a primer for my eyeshadow. So I just kind of tap it into place here. And this is where the pointed end of your Blenderful is really going to come in nice and handy. You can bring this lighter down. You'll want your highlighted area to kind of come down past wherever your eyes kind of crease there. You know, lack of sleep, children, stress. Just get rid of that. You can see you can really get into there. This the sponge is very dense. So if you've ever used a makeup wedge sponge, this is much, much different than that. It's a lot more dense. And of course, you can wash it with baby shampoo or a gentle cleanser um, and use it for several months. All right, so after I get that done, I want to show you that you can even use the Blenderful to set your makeup with your perfect pressed powder. This is the rest of my complexion palette that I use quite frequently. Whoops. And so I have my perfect pressed powder over here. This is my blush number 6. It's our highlighter blush. Whoops. And this is our perfect bronzer. So what I'm going to do is I like to use like the back of my nail and to scrape a little bit of the powder out so it's kind of loose. You don't have to do that, but I really like a lot of powder. So you put that right onto your sponge, and you can see that since it's a little bit damp, it's going to really hold the powder on there, but it's not going to be so damp that you can't use it. And then you just go in and you lightly pat your concealer into place. That's one's very important. And it puts that product right exactly where you want it. So if you want some of your skin to not be as set, not as matte, you can just choose where you're going to press that powder into. But I really, really like this for applying pressed powder. And then you're going to have just a really, really perfect finish to your makeup. Then I like to take my blush number 6, and again, right on this Blenderful, I'm going to put a little bit on the tip here, and this is where I like to add the highlight to my makeup. Now you'll notice I didn't set my makeup here with with powder, and that is because I want this powder to stick to my foundation and kind of act as a setting agent. So I'm going to put that right on the highlight of my cheek. You can see that little bit of glow. And then I'm going to take my perfect bronzer and I'm going to kind of add a contour right there at my cheekbone, a little bit underneath here, a little bit on the side of my nose, and up here. And then I'm going to use a clean side and kind of that bottom side to just blend this all together. This is one of those tools, one tool, and you can get several products on your face and using a clean side, kind of blend that all together. I'm going to look in my mirror over here to make sure I have this nice and even. And really the key, I'm kind of going for a more natural contoured look today, but the key is to really just blend, and the Blenderful makes it really, really easy to blend those colors together kind of seamlessly. And again, underneath your chin, you can kind of use that flat side to blend that in. There you go. I'm going to show you one more thing that I really like about this flat side of the Blenderful. I'm going to go into one of my personal palettes here and use this blush number 1. I like to take the flat side and the blush number 1. Our blushes are so pigmented it doesn't take very much, and just kind of roll it into there. And I just like to pat just a tiny bit of color under my cheeks, and then you can, like I said before, just blend that in with the more clean side of your Blenderful. And you get a really, really natural color on your face without having to use multiple tools to blend. So that is how I like to use our new Blenderful sponge. And now you'll see it's pretty dirty. So I can just run it under some water and rinse out the excess product. And I can, take a little bit of some shampoo, baby shampoo, or ivory soap works really good too. The sensitive, without all the extra perfumes, the bar soap works pretty good to clean these Blenderfuls. But one of the nice things is, if you've ever heard me talk about a beauty blender, my cats love beauty blenders. So having it in this little bag is also nice to protect your Blenderful from being a cat toy. But once it's in there, then it can dry. You can set it down. It's not going to roll away. And you can clean it and then also leave it in here to dry overnight. So that is some of my tips for using the Blenderful. If you have any ideas, I would love to hear how you're using your Blenderful sponge. Put a message in the comments or send me a private message. The Blenderful sells for $18, comes with in a beautiful package to gift it. Or actually, something very cool, this also makes a very good brush holder when you're done with your package for your Blenderful sponge. So it's a nice way to recycle. And comes with in that case and then with the mesh bag for $18. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.